Hey friends, happy National Scrapbooking Day! Yay! It's Missy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm here with a special layout for the Paige Evans design team. In honor of National Scrapbooking Day, all of the Pink Paisley and Paige Evans DT girls are making layouts featuring either this really beautiful pick-me-up specialty vellum paper. It's got such pretty gold metallic bits on it, and or the 2x2 paper pads from Pick Me Up. And I'm going to use both of these. And I knew I wanted to use a cut file, and so I decided to use this one. I hadn't used it yet. It's the Cut and Fold Stars, which means it only cuts out half of the shape, and then you fold it over and you put something behind the open spot, and so you kind of have a half and half star. Now, when you see the cut file, it's presented in a grid where everything is the same shape and in a pattern. And I decided to kind of make them smaller and kind of make them not so straight. And so I made like a little cluster, and some of them are going to overlap. And I really love how this turns out. I'm going to put my pictures, which I haven't even chosen yet, down at the bottom right. And so it's going to be sort of like a burst of stars coming out of the pictures. And so I'm going to use the 2x2 paper pads to back the stars, and this is a very easy technique. You can see there how only half the stars are going to show, but once it's done, you'll be able to see the full effect of this. Now, you could just go for it and start to glue the background down, or the background paper, and then cut around it, or you can trace. I got backwards on this. I traced it backwards, and then I realized, wait a minute, what did I just do? So, yeah. I just said, you know what, I'll turn it upside down and trace it. And that's what I should have done. Or not upside down, but flip the paper over. I've only done this 8,000 times. You think I would know what I was doing, but yeah. I finally just started to eyeball it and glue it down and move on quicker. Anyway, I'm not going to make you watch this whole process because it, it gets boring after a while, but it's fun to do. I always love the result. You get lots of color and pattern on your background in small doses, and so your paper is not too busy. And I love how that looks. It's very dimensional. You can see how the stars are kind of sticking up there, but we're going to take care of that shortly. Now, what I wanted to do was create some color on the background. And now I haven't done anything to this cardstock yet. I just picked some textured cardstock and ran it through the Cameo. I didn't use any gesso or anything like that. And all I'm doing here is using some gelatos from my stash and just kind of scribbling down onto the paper, dipping my finger into just a little bit of water, and then smudging the color around. And this is just going to get me started. I'm going to wind up using some other products here momentarily, but I just wanted to kind of see how this was going to look. And so when I fold the white piece of star over, I want there to be some color behind it. So it's going to be sort of a messy watercolor effect behind the stars when they get folded over. So it's not white on white, and I just didn't want it to blend in and be too white. So I'm just sort of adding some pinks, some yellows, and some aquas, a little bit of turquoise here, and just blending together. And then I decided to go for some shimmers. I decided I wanted to kind of mix and match, and so I just go for it. Spray some onto some plastic and then smush it down. And I wasn't sure in the beginning if, how much mixed media I wanted to add. Just sort of took on a life of its own, and I just kept going. And I love the splotchiness effect that you get from the packaging technique. And this is a good example of how you can use these products without gesso. I know I use gesso a lot, and I always am singing its praises about how amazing it is, and it is. But in this case, I didn't feel like I really needed it because my areas of smushing the plastic down were going to be pretty small, and a lot of it's going to get covered up when I open the stars back up. And so it's not something that I was aiming for perfection. I just wanted splotches of color down, and I'm going to go back and forth with the gelatos. I'm going to pull out several different coordinating colors of shimmers here. I've got Sweetheart, which is the pink. I've got Mango Tango, which is this red coral color. Well Blew Me Down is the aqua color, and then No Yoking is the yellow. And then once I got all this down, I really liked it, but I wanted to kind of fade some of it out. So here's where I'm going to use gesso at this point. I'm going to use it more as a white out, I guess you could say. I want to fade out some of the colors. And so gesso is also good for doing that. And I'm just using my palette knife and kind of going in between just to kind of soften up some of the colors. Some of the edges were really hard and I wanted it to look a little softer. And so I'm just kind of smudging the gesso here and there until I get it like I like it. Yeah, I love gesso. It has so many different things. And the fact that it's white is even better because you can fade out colors. You can use it on white paper. If you use it on dark paper like navy blue or black, it even has a whole different effect to it. So it's got a lot of uses. Now I also pulled out the Distress Oxides and I'm going to basically use the same colors. I've got the Cracked Pistachio, the Peacock Feathers, this is Fossilized Amber, and I'm just going over the same areas and just kind of making it look even a little more faded and coloring in some of the areas. And so when each star folds open, it's going to have some color behind it. And if you have not tried the Distress Oxides, you really need to get some because they are so much fun to use and they're so rich in color, and you could use them wet, you could use them dry. They blend so beautifully. That purple, deep purple pinkish color is called Seedless Preserves. And when I first got it, I thought it was just purple, but it's this really deep, gorgeous, I would call it more of a deep pink color. It's so pretty mixed with the picked raspberry. Love it. This is the Abandoned Coral. It's perfect for that reddish coral color. And I'm just smushing down and kind of using a circular rubbing pattern, I guess, because my little ink blending tool there is round. Now I let that dry and then I went sewing machine crazy and pulled out all the matching colors and did some zigzag stitching right down the middle of each star. And so now the star is going to stay open. So you can see half of it's a pattern paper, half of it's white, and then you've got all that color behind it. And I love how that turned out. I was so excited. And I thought I would do a little detail work around the stars to make them stand out a little bit more. And so it's really hard to see here, but that's just a white jelly roll pen, and I just kind of sketched around each star. It's going to make them pop off the page. Now here I decided to use these pictures a couple years ago, actually 3 years in a row. My mom, my sister, and I went to see Dancing with the Stars live tour. We love Dancing with the Stars, and this year, this was actually December of 2016, I think. They came to Clearwater and we got the VIP tickets. And so that means that we got to go backstage before the show and we got to meet some of the dancers. And so we were just standing out in the crowd of people, and Lindsay and Emma were just milling around with everybody, chit-chatting. You could get your pictures with them and chat with them. It was so cool, and they were so nice and so beautiful, and so of course we had to get our pictures with them. And so if you watch Dancing with the Stars, then you know Lindsay and you know Emma. And then we got a group shot with Keo and Val and Sharna, and this was when Lori Hernandez won with Val, and so she was there. Yeah, I have a group picture. I have so many pictures that I haven't scrapped from Dancing with the Stars. But yeah, it's something we love to do, and love these pictures. And so I thought I was using stars, and so I thought, hey, I'm going to use some Dancing with the Stars pictures. So I cut a couple pieces from the vellum, and I'm going to use that wow piece at the top. The vellum is so pretty. The colors look really, really pretty on top of white because it really just makes the true color pop. And I'm going to incorporate that color, and I believe that, or not that color, that piece that I just tore off, and it says "Shine On, You Beautiful Star." And again, it had the word star on it. And then I also picked up that XOXO. I really wanted to add something down at the bottom, and so I have been wanting to use the packaging from the mini thickers from Pick Me Up. And I thought, you know what, this is the perfect time to do that. So that's technically packaging that comes in thickers. It's not even a pattern paper. But I'm going to use it because it's got all the colors, and I think it really enhances the layout, and it's really, really pretty. So I'm just going to cut a crooked piece off at the bottom and then glue it down, and you can kind of see it peeking through there. Love how that turned out. I'm going to add some foam behind the pictures just to make them a little bit more dimensional. And I added a couple papers from the 6x6 paper pad behind the pictures. And then I'm going to go through Paige's 30-page sticker book that you can get at scrapbook.com or Hobby Lobby, and basically look for anything that has a star on it. And I actually found 2 or 3 pages that had star stickers. So I'm going to incorporate those. I am going to add a little bit of tangled thread. I've got some of that deep blue over on the right, and then I'm going to add some of the deep coral color over on the left, because I feel like I've already got a lot of yellow and pink going on. So I'm going to try to pull in some other colors. And here are these stars, and I'm just going to randomly add those to places in between all these other folded stars, just to kind of enhance the whole star effect. And I love that there's some that are bigger and some that are smaller, and so I'm just going to incorporate a couple of those around the photos. And I made these pictures black and white because there was a lot of color going on in the pictures, and you know, it was nighttime and there's weird lighting indoors, and so the pictures in color weren't really, everything kind of clashed. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to use all these colors on the layout, I'll just print these in black and white, and that way anything will match. Now I'm going to create a little cluster over here with this vellum piece and that little beautiful sticker, and I picked that because it kind of looks like a ticket, because we were at a show and we had tickets. And so I thought, well, that matches. I'm going to use that. And then the little wow piece, I'm still going to keep that up at the top because it was a wow moment. We were just hanging out, and my sister said, oh my gosh, there's Emma. And we turned around, and there she was. And it was right after she got engaged to Sasha. And so we talked to her about that, and it was just a really cool night. And the show was excellent, of course. It's just unbelievable. So good. If you enjoy that sort of thing, which we love it. I'm going to use this little rub-on. It's also a star. I think it says, oh, I've already forgotten what it says. Shine bright, you're a star. Something about a star or shining. But I thought it looked cute right down there at the bottom, and it brought in a pop of blue. And so what's happening now is I'm very limited on space. And so I'm not going to add too many more embellishments, just a couple of stickers, because I do need to leave room for a title. And at this point, it's going to have to go underneath the pictures because I don't really have a lot of extra space anywhere. I did a little bit of stitching right over that little area down at the bottom, and I did that with yellow thread. And just to make sure that this vellum really sticks out and stays true to its color, I'm going to stick it to some white cardstock and then add a little bit of foam behind it so it pops up. And I really like that deep purple color. It's like the perfect color to match that seedless preserves. It's kind of purple, but it's kind of a deep pink. It's just a gorgeous color. Whatever you want to call it, it is so pretty. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow thread down there just to kind of finish off that cluster. And I like the fact that I've got a lot of the colors represented down there in that little cluster. I'm going to glue my little threads down to make sure they stay. And then I'm going to use the mini thickers in white. And my title's just going to be Dancing with the Stars because, yeah, that's where we were. And so I'm going to kind of start backwards to make sure everything is going to fit. And once I got all of the letters stuck down, I really liked how it looked, but I felt like it was just too white on white, so I'm going to jazz that up here in a minute. I did pull a star-shaped button from the Pick Me Up Haberdashery pack, and I'm going to use that right in the middle of the photo down towards the bottom, but I'm going to add a little, what is that, floss, embroidery floss, in the middle of the little holes and tie a little pink bow. And here's where I thought about jazzing up the white letters. I'm going to use a little bit of gold. Basically, that's just a pigment ink pad. Or is it a dye ink pad? I think it's a pigment ink pad. And add a little bit of water and use a tiny little brush and just kind of brush on a little hint of gold at the bottom of the letters. And then, of course, since I've got some gold going on, I got to add some Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine. Treasure that stuff. Apparently it's been discontinued. I'm heartbroken over that. Oh, anyway, there you can see. I actually went back over it with a little bit of the Heidi Swapp Color Shine, and you can really see it shining in the light, and I'll show you in a close-up here in a minute. But this is almost finished. I do add a little bit of journaling, and I just kind of follow that crooked line down at the bottom, just talking about how cool it was to meet Lindsay and Emma. And then I add the date And that's the final layout. I love how this turned out. I love the colors. That cut file is so cool. I love the effect of the folding over with the mixed media behind it. It turned out way better than I thought. I was kind of hesitant at first, but then once I got the mixed media part done, I was like, what? I love how that turned out. There you can see the gold on the letters and the shiny gold bits on that vellum. So, so pretty. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you're having a great National Scrapbooking Day. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. I have another video coming up later today, so stay tuned for that. And thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you later. Have a great day.